Have you ever wondered about a hidden chapter in American history? A tale of resilience and defiance that challenges the very fabric of our nation's narrative? Imagine unearthing the story of the Black Seminoles, a tribe whose existence was suppressed and obscured by those who sought to control the historical narrative. What if you could journey back in time to witness the untold struggles and triumphs of this forgotten tribe? Picture yourself standing alongside them as they navigate the treacherous terrain of oppression, forging alliances and fighting for freedom against insurmountable odds. Now envision the impact of uncovering this hidden legacy on today's society. How would individuals from diverse backgrounds react to the revelation of a marginalized community's heroic struggle for survival and autonomy? And what secrets and insights might emerge from this long-buried history, reshaping our understanding of race, identity, and power dynamics? Prepare to embark on a riveting exploration of the Black American tribe they tried to hide. Before we continue, kindly endeavor to hit that like button as a way of supporting our work. Share with your families and friends to keep spreading our eye-opening Black narrative. And subscribe to stay put for more while you help in building the rising subscribers of this channel. We appreciate your support. I never thought I would find myself here in this desolate land, surrounded by strange faces and a history that has been hidden and forgotten. My name is Josephine, and I am a descendant of the Black Seminoles. Our story is one that has been silenced and erased from the history books, but I am determined to speak the truth and shed light on the bravery and resilience of my ancestors. As a child, I grew up hearing stories of our tribe and how we came to be. My grandmother, who was a wise woman and the keeper of our tribe's history, would tell us about the struggles and triumphs of our people. She would tell us how our ancestors risked their lives to escape slavery and how they created a safe haven for their families and others who were trying to escape. It all started with the arrival of the first slaves to America. As they were brought over on ships, their culture, traditions, and identities were taken away from them. They were deemed as mere property, with no rights or freedom. However, some slaves managed to escape and seek refuge in the untamed swamps and forests of Florida. They joined forces with the Native American Seminole tribe, forming a unique community known as the Black Seminoles. Under the leadership of chiefs like Cowkeeper and Wildcat, the Black Seminoles created a haven for runaway slaves. They taught them how to survive in the wilderness, and in return, the slaves brought a new culture and tradition to the tribe. We were a united front, fighting against the oppression and cruelty of our white oppressors. We were a tribe of mixed blood, but we were united as one people. Our freedom would not last long. The U.S. government, driven by greed and power, wanted to take control of the land we called our home. They saw the Black Seminoles as a threat, a rebellion that needed to be stopped. They then ordered us to leave our land and move to the Oklahoma Indian Territory. It was a devastating blow to our tribe, but we had no choice but to comply. The journey to Oklahoma was treacherous. Our chiefs were assassinated, our land was stolen, and we were forced onto reservations. When we arrived at our new home, we were greeted with hostility from the Native American tribes who already resided there. They saw us as inferior and did not want us to be a part of their community. But the Black Seminoles were not ready to surrender. We built our own settlements and formed alliances with other marginalized groups. We became known as the Black Seminoles, a powerful and resilient tribe. Years passed, and our population grew. We prospered in our new home and established a thriving community. However, the United States government continued to oppress us. In 1835, they passed the Indian Removal Act, which forced us to leave our land once again and move to the Indian Territory in Oklahoma. Our ancestors knew that our fight for freedom was not over. We were determined to break free from the chains of slavery and create our own destiny. Led by Chief John Horse, a war hero and one of our most respected leaders, we organized the largest slave revolt in U.S. history. With the help of other enslaved Africans and Native Americans, we launched an attack on nearby plantations and freed over 700 enslaved people. The United States government was enraged by our rebellion and sent troops to suppress the uprising. A bloody battle ensued, but we refused to back down. We fought with everything we had, using our knowledge of the land, our fierce warrior skills, and our indomitable spirit. Finally, in 1866, we made a deal with the U.S. government. Our tribe would embark on a mass exodus along the infamous Trail of Tears in exchange for our freedom and a new land in Mexico. With nothing but determination in our hearts, we left behind everything we had ever known and embarked on a perilous journey. The Trail of Tears was a treacherous path, filled with hunger, disease, and death. But we refused to give up. After months of hardship, we finally reached our new home in Mexico. Our tribe was now free, and we were no longer under the control of our white oppressors. We had taken control of our destiny and created a new life for ourselves. Our victory came at a cost. Many of our people were killed in the battle, and the remaining Seminoles were forced to flee to Mexico for safety. For years, we lived in exile, constantly on the move in search of a new home. We eventually found refuge in the deserts of Mexico, where we formed a new community and thrived once again. Our culture and traditions remained intact, and we passed down our stories and history to future generations. Here is the snapshot of our battle in the past. After the American Revolution, Spain regained control of Florida from Britain as part of the Treaty of Paris. When the British evacuated Florida, Spanish colonists and settlers from the newly formed United States came pouring in. Favorable Spanish terms lured many new residents to acquire property, called land grants. Even Seminoles were encouraged to set up farms because they provided a buffer between Spanish Florida and the United States. Escaped enslaved people also entered Florida, trying to reach a place where their U.S. masters had no authority over them. When Britain controlled Florida, the British often incited Seminoles against American settlers migrating south into the Seminole territory. This, combined with the haven the Seminoles provided escaped enslaved people, led to the U.S. Army's increasingly frequent incursions into Spanish territory to attack the tribe and recapture the enslaved people. These skirmishes, led by forces under General Andrew Jackson between 1817 and 1818, became known as the First Seminole War. These campaigns attacked several key Seminole locations and forced the tribe farther south into Florida. Following the war, the United States effectively controlled East Florida. By 1821, the territory was brought under complete U.S. control as Spain formally ceded Florida to the United States as part of the Adams-Onis Treaty. Soon after acquiring Florida, the United States began urging the Indians to leave their lands and relocate along with other southeastern tribes to the Indian Territory in present-day Oklahoma. In the spring of 1832, the Seminoles were called to a meeting at Payne's Landing on the Ocklawaha River. The treaty negotiated with the U.S. government called for the Seminoles to move west if the land was suitable. A delegation of 7 chiefs toured the area for several months and, on March 28, 1833, signed what they believed to be a statement that the new land was suitable for consideration. Upon their return to Florida, however, there was disagreement as to the terms of the treaty. Many of the chiefs stated that they had not committed to moving their people to the new territory and were coerced through force and misinterpretation into signing. Some U.S. Army officers claimed that the chiefs had been wheedled and bullied into signing. Others noted evidence of trickery in how the treaty was phrased. The refusal of most Seminoles to abandon the reservation north of Lake Okeechobee and to relocate west of the Mississippi River led to what was known as the Second Seminole War. The Second Seminole War was the longest and most costly of all the wars of removal fought by the U.S. government. It formally began with what is now known as Dade's Massacre in December 1835. The vengeful killing of Wiley Thompson, an agent to the Seminoles by Osceola, a young Creek warrior who emerged as one of the most influential leaders of the Seminole resistance, started a conflict that would last until 1842. Multiple American commanders tried and failed to defeat and remove the Seminoles. As the war wore on, the Seminole population steadily shrank as warriors were killed and groups sent west through capture or, rarely, acquiescence to removal. Under chiefs and warriors, including Osceola, Jumper, Alligator, Micanopy, Arpaca, Halleck, Tustenuggee, Coacoochee, and many others, the Seminoles as a nation never stopped resisting. The war was vicious and bloody, and often involved deception on both sides. General Jessup captured many influential Seminole leaders, including Osceola and Coacucci, by seizing them under a false white flag of truce. On multiple occasions, overwhelmed Seminole leaders would agree to emigrate, only to use the preparation time to gather supplies and ammunition, and then disappear back into the impenetrable landscape. The Second Seminole War claimed the lives of over 1,500 U.S. soldiers and cost the government an estimated $15 million. At its conclusion in 1842, with no peace treaty or truce declared, roughly 3,000 Seminoles had been removed to the Indian Territory. A handful, less than 500, were left to die deep in the Florida Everglades. The Third Seminole War, a series of skirmishes mainly over land, lasted from 1855 until 1858. The war was also known as Billy Bowlegs War because Billy Bowlegs was the prominent Seminole leader in this third and final installment. By the war's conclusion in 1858, Billy Bowlegs finally agreed to emigrate, taking most of those remaining with him. However, a small band of Seminoles under Sam Jones never left Florida, staying hidden in the Big Cypress Swamp. The approximately 3,500 Seminoles in Florida today are the descendants of these Seminoles and a few families that found their way back from the West. My grandmother used to tell me stories of their bravery and resilience and how they were able to survive in the harsh conditions of the Florida swamps. But what intrigued me the most were their inventions, innovations that were far ahead of their time and played a significant role in shaping history. As I grew older, my curiosity only increased. I knew that the Black Seminoles had created these inventions in secret, keeping them hidden from the outside world. But the question was, why? What was so special about these inventions that they had to be kept a secret? Determined to find answers, I set out to the Everglades where the Black Seminole tribe lived. My journey wasn't easy, but finally I arrived at their village, a small community hidden deep within the swamps, seemingly untouched by time. The villagers welcomed me with open arms, sensing my curiosity and genuine interest in their culture. I spent days learning about their traditions, rituals, and way of life. But deep inside, I knew that I was here for a bigger purpose, to uncover the secrets of their inventions. One night, as I sat around the campfire with the tribe's elders, I mustered up the courage to ask them about their inventions. They exchanged knowing glances, and one of the elders, a tall, weathered man with wise eyes, began to speak. Many years ago, our people faced great peril. We were at war with the American government, fighting for our freedom and way of life. But we were outmatched, outnumbered, and outgunned. It seemed like our end was near. That's when our tribe's leaders came up with an idea to create inventions that would give us an advantage in battle. He paused, taking a deep breath, and continued. Our tribe was blessed with great minds and skilled hands. We used our knowledge of herbal medicine and the gifts of nature to create powerful weapons and tools. We also discovered ways to communicate with each other in secret, giving us an edge over our enemies. As he spoke, the other elders began to chime in, recalling the different inventions they had created. There was a device that could shoot darts laced with a potent poison, a special cloak that made the wearer seemingly invisible, and even a device that could predict an enemy's movements. I was amazed and couldn't believe what I was hearing. These were inventions that I had only read about in science fiction books. But here they were, created by a small tribe hidden in the Florida swamps. But the most significant invention of all was yet to be revealed, a machine that could control the weather. The elders told me that this invention was kept in the deepest part of the village, guarded by a select few, and was only used in times of great need. They also warned me that revealing the secrets of their inventions to the outside world could result in catastrophic consequences. But I was too curious to let their warning stop me. The next day, while the village slept, I sneaked into the forbidden area and saw the machine with my own eyes. It was a massive device, almost ancient-looking, made of metal, wood, and stones. I couldn't resist the urge to touch it. I pressed a button, and suddenly the machine came alive. The ground beneath my feet began to rumble, and I felt a jolt of electricity flow through my body. In a panic, I stumbled backward, triggering another button that I didn't even know existed. The machine began to whir, and a loud bang echoed through the village. Suddenly, the sky turned dark and a storm began to brew. Rain poured down in heavy sheets and the wind howled, whipping through the trees. I had unleashed a cyclone, and I didn't know how to stop it. Terrified, I ran out of the forbidden area and straight into the elders. They were horrified to see what I had done and quickly began to work on shutting down the machine. But it was too late. The storm had intensified, and I could see the destruction it was causing outside the village. The elders were able to stop the storm, but the damage was done. The once peaceful village was now in chaos. I knew I had made a grave mistake, and I was prepared to face the consequences. But the elders surprised me by forgiving me, saying that perhaps it was time for the outside world to know about their inventions. They led me to a secret underground room, where I saw sketches and blueprints of their inventions. They explained that these innovations were not meant for war. They were meant to protect their people and their way of life. As I left the Black Seminole village, I couldn't stop thinking about the powerful machines and tools I had seen. But more than that, I was awestruck by the resilience, wisdom, and generosity of this tribe. The Black Seminoles may have been forgotten by history, but their inventions would continue to shape the world and inspire future generations. And so I stand here today, a proud descendant of the Black Seminoles, determined to share our story with the world. Our bravery and resilience have been swept under the rug, but I refuse to let our history be forgotten. We may have been the Black American tribe they tried to hide, but we are also the ones who beat the odds, defied our oppressors, and created our own path. As I look around at my people, I am filled with pride and gratitude. We have come a long way and our journey is far from over. But one thing is for sure, we will never forget our past and the struggles that have made us who we are today. The Black Seminoles, a tribe of escaped slaves who refused to be broken and instead created their own destiny,